Hey everyone, Sav Tech Reviews back here with another video, and this is the X Fold 3 Pro Chinese ROM version with Origin OS. I wanted to give a bit of my thoughts after using this phone for a while and kind of give you some tips and tricks on how to use it. In addition to that, just show some things that maybe some people are not familiar with when it comes to using this device here. So without further ado, let me dive right in. Right off the bat, when you purchase this device, please keep in mind that there's going to be a lot of setup that you're going to need to do. There is a ton of bloatware, and I'm really not exaggerating when I say I must have uninstalled something like 50 apps on the device. And even with that, you will have to connect it to something like ADB connector to actually remove some of those additional things. Some of the bloatware you cannot remove off of the phone. You have to get into that software, which is available on Windows, and you may be able to remove some stuff there. But keep in mind, some stuff you actually cannot remove, like the Vivo App Store. I haven't seen this being discussed in other videos, but if I jump in here and the store here, this Chinese store is actually not removable. And the reason is because it is linked to the APK installer on this device, so you cannot remove it. Yes, you can install the Google Play Store and all of that stuff, but that's something that's very difficult to not very difficult. I don't actually think it's possible to remove. I've tried everything. So let's set that one point aside. Otherwise, there's a lot of things you need to fix, starting with the notification system. I'm sure you've seen this in other videos, but you will not get your notifications. It is quite frustrating. You have to go into each one of these. So you need to jump into the settings here. You need to scroll down, go to your notifications, and then when you go into there, you need to pick each device and change the battery consumption. One quick way to do it is just you can click app info and then go to battery life and then go to more power consumption details. Sorry, not this menu. Go to this one, background power consumption management, and then you can click high background usage. If you leave it on smart control, it actually you just don't get the notifications. So that's one thing you will have to do for each app. So it's quite frustrating, especially if you keep installing new apps on the device. You have to keep that in mind. Another thing that I found very strange is this device, for some very odd reason, can't make a distinction between the personal apps and the work profile apps. And I did find that to be very odd. So for example, in this mode, in the launcher, which is just their what they call their let me double check on that. So what they call this mode is the standard style. If you switch it to the drawer style, it can't actually tell. So for example, let me be a little more clear. You have the Gmail icon here, and then you have the Gmail icon here with the work icon on the bottom right. If I come to add my calendar work as a widget, it doesn't show up in here. You can't find it. But if I use something like Nova Launcher, the work calendar widget does show up there. Another thing that's super strange is if you go to the settings and go to the home screen style and change that from standard to drawer. So let me switch it over to that different style. So now you're in drawer mode. Now look at this. For each work app, it duplicated it, but it doesn't show the work icon. So you're like, is this my personal Gmail or is this my personal Gmail? Is this my personal file manager or is this my personal file manager? It's super strange that they couldn't just add an icon here. I mean, it's probably a glitch. Maybe they'll fix it in the future. I honestly don't know, but I did find this very odd. So the workaround, even though I do prefer this style of the launcher, for me was to really just go in here and change that over to the other one, right? So the workaround was to go here, go to the home settings, and then switch that over to the standard style. And that's not to say that, you know, it's a deal breaker, but please keep that in mind if you purchase this phone. There is some frustration that comes to that. Another point I would like to point out is these screens, they're beautiful. This inner screen and the outer screen are really good screens, excellent quality, but they're actually not running at 120 Hertz, surprisingly, when, and let me say by default, right? So if you go to the refresh, what I found is if I put this in smart adaptation, which is supposed to, you know, detect and automatically scroll at like 120, you'll see, I mean, I'm not sure if the camera is catching it, but the Play Store, for example, is very choppy. It's very choppy. And if you do this in other apps, you'll realize that it's only running at 60. So what I found is, again, you have to go in here and switch the screen refresh rate over to high, and then you have to pick what apps you want to run at high. I mean, it's not like it's for everything. So now after I change that, you'll see now this is not, like, for example, running smoothly. So then after you switch it to high, I actually found that you would have to quit the app and open it again, and then it would start running smoothly, right? So if you go in here and go to Play Store, which should be here, let's see, there it is, and I switch that to high. When I go here, see, it's still, oh no, now it's smooth. So now it's running at 120. So it's just strange to me that for each notification you have to go in and tell it what notifications you'd like to get all the time, and for each app you have to tell it which one you want to run at a high refresh rate. I know these things you probably set up once, but this just adds a lot to the gaming, to phone experience, which to be honest, it makes it quite frustrating. Another thing you cannot change on this phone, and I have tried everything, is if you double tap the lock button on the right, it will automatically jump to the Chinese payment app. I don't use this. I tried to switch this to Google Wallet. I couldn't find anywhere in the settings where you could do this. If you double tap the lock button, for example, on a Samsung, it will open the camera. Here it opens the payment app. Here they changed that so that you would double tap the volume button to open the camera, which if I do that, it will open the camera. But I just do find it a little strange that it doesn't let you, switch that app over to a payment app that's something you would use. In terms of watch connectivity, I don't use Wear OS. I actually have a Garmin watch myself. The Garmin connects perfectly to this watch and it works. So if you're going to be using something like the Garmin series, you have nothing to worry about. If you're going to be using something different, then don't have very high expectations, because to be honest with you, I heard folks have problem with the Origin OS when it comes to connecting Wear OS watches. Another thing I want to talk about is in terms of Android Auto. This should be now there in this updated version, so this is nothing to worry about. Now, in terms of 5G speeds, because I heard a lot of rumors about this and about how the 5G speeds don't work properly on this phone. So let me show you. This is actually a very interesting one. I'll turn off my Wi-Fi here. Let me go to my settings, and we have to enable developer mode, obviously. So once you enable developer mode here, you can go here into your developer options, and I'm just going to switch this back to what it was by default, just to give everyone an idea. So everyone, when you first get this phone, it's in 5G auto mode, and if I were to go to something like speed test software, so let me just search this here. So speed test, and open this one. And if I do this, you will notice that it's actually running quite slow, right? Getting maybe 15 to 19, looks like around 30 max or that mark for your download speeds in Mbps. And your upload speeds are also going to be around 15 or whatever. And I'm on T-Mobile, and I'm using actually one of their best packages, if not the best one. So I thought this is a huge issue, but it's actually quite an easy fix. If you enable your developer mode here and go into your 5G network mode and change this one to SA only, and go back here and repeat this speed test now, you will see that now there is a tremendous improvement in the speed, right? So now it's hitting like 500 megabytes per second, right? And this is quite impressive. I will say this is really blazing fast speeds here you're getting on this phone. But you do have to tweak the settings, so if someone were not to know this, they might not be aware of that setting change. In terms of upload speed, it's only showing about 8 for now, so that looks like it might be less, but I mean, it's just a call out here to talk really about this. Now, if you've ever owned a Samsung device, you would know that there is something called like a secure folder where you can, put your, sensitive information or stuff you don't want other people to access, etc. Right? In this phone, it has some privacy mode, which I found very interesting, but it's very buggy, and it actually doesn't say much about it, right? But what's interesting about it, and if I click this Origin privacy system, it asks for a password. Let me just enter that off camera for now. And then once you go here, it switches into its own operating system, and I think that is honestly really cool. Very cool idea, really. And it's this own, like, completely standalone from the other system, and it's completely isolated. And I haven't seen other people in videos mention this. This is really cool. But and once you hit exit, it exits out of it, and you're back to your phone, and it's as if you never even opened this thing. I do find it quite silly that you would have to go into settings and access that, but what I ended up discovering is on the default launcher, if you just drag here, if you see that down there, it shows that hidden icon for your privacy system. And I discovered this by accident, to be honest with you, but once you do that, and let me enter this again off camera here, it jumps back into your private system here. So I do think that was very cool. It's kind of hidden in a cool way. I like that, and I like that it's its own separate system. But it's kind of odd to have to discover that in that way, right? Alright, so another thing I think is really cool about this device is this flex mode. I think this would be cool if it was added to some other devices. I know Samsung has their flex mode, but where I see this being enabled in other apps is kind of cool. It's innovative. I haven't seen it on other phones. But for example, let's say I fire up eBay here, and I'm in the eBay app, and once I open that here into this flex mode, it actually gives this really cool menu, which kind of allows you to use this like a laptop. So if you see you have eBay in the top half, and if I do this, there's actually a cursor, like a PC cursor. And you can scroll down and up with 2 fingers on the lower half, and you can kind of go about things this way. You can also open your control center from down here, control the volume, change your brightness just from down here directly. And I do think this is a pretty cool, innovative feature that they've added to this phone. I would like to see that on more devices. I kind of like it when manufacturers add things that are new. Another thing is, on other phones, it is kind of tricky to enable the split screen mode. This phone lets you really do it in 2 ways. One way is actually by closing and opening the phone just like I did there, and then you can select the other app, and that allows you to open it in split screen mode, which I thought is very cool. It allows you to swap the apps, change their orientation, save this as a combination. So that's super cool, honestly. The other way that it kind of lets you do this is you can select an app, and then with 3 fingers, if you swipe up, it lets you get into that split screen mode very quickly, very simply. And again, if you select the other app, it opens it that way. I really think this is very cool. I would like to see this on more devices, to be honest with you, because it is a little tricky to do it on other devices to get to that menu. Another setting they allow you to do is if you click and drag from the bottom corner of some apps, you can actually minimize them, as you can see here. It's not very intuitive, but it is really cool. You can minimize apps, move them around, and then you can switch them to full screen or split screen. So this is another very cool feature in this phone. My primary complaint about this phone is just I don't feel like it runs, as smoothly as you would expect. The scroll speed isn't as fast as something like the Fold 6. I'm a bit, I'm a very quick user, and I scroll quickly and I click menus quickly. On this phone, you could feel like you're really, like trying to scroll up or down, and it takes time to get somewhere. Again, this is not a huge complaint, but if I were to show you just comparatively to my Fold 6, if I were to do a very similar action there, you will see here, for example, I'll open the Play Store on both, and you will see this is the Fold 6. I mean, you could see that super snappy to go up and down to the end, and here it's a bit, more similar to an iPhone experience where it's like kind of accelerating slowly, right? But both of these phones again are very snappy, and I'll make another video kind of comparing them. But again, I do find that it's more smooth on something like the Fold 6. You can see when I get out of an app, it feels very immediate on both, and they both work very well. But for some reason, the Fold 6 has that more of a polished experience. Like even something you'll notice, if I quit out of all the apps here compared to the other one, you'll feel like the animation here is kind of slow, and it won't quit the app you have open. You have to kind of exit that and then exit everything. But on the Fold 6, when I close, it's like immediate. It's super snappy. So these are kind of my nitpicks, but I will make another video specifically talking about those differences between both, and what I like about the X Fold 3 compared to the Fold 6 and vice versa. So I just wanted to make this video before you jump in, and buy this phone. Keep in mind, you will have to go through these things. You will have to go through setting it up. You will have to deal with some of those annoyances. Another very important one that I did want to mention was the keyboard. So if you go and type, I switched this to Swift key, right? But by default, you don't have that. By default, actually, your input method is the Vivo one. So if you go here to input method, by default, it's actually the Vivo IME Pro. And for some reason, it will randomly switch into that one also at times. So this is the default one, and you cannot remove these Chinese icons or letterings in it. I've tried also to remove that. I tried to play between these different keyboards, and this is kind of always there. And a lot of the time it will, when you use that one, it will keep prompting to, can it access your internet? Can it access this? Can it access that? And it is kind of weird that it asks for these things, but I guess it's for the AI features that it has, which I don't use. So I just switched it to Swift key, which made it easier for me to use, but I definitely did want to call this out. In terms of if you need an app, again, there is somewhere here in this setting, which I don't completely recall where. I can try to find that for you, but there is somewhere here where you could download any apps that you have accidentally uninstalled, and if you go in here, you can fix it. So yeah, it's actually here. So under this apps menu, if you go to systems app recovery, you can see a lot of the apps here that come with Origin OS. If you accidentally uninstalled something and you need it back, you can find it here. But this just gives you a hint of how many bloatware apps I have removed. And this isn't even all of them, right? This is just, a section of them. There's a lot of other apps like Baidu and I don't know, this other stuff that comes up with the phone, right? But this is one thing. The other thing is I've seen people express frustration with the camera not scanning QR codes. That's because if you want to scan QR codes, you need to use the scan app that comes with the phone. That actually scans QR codes. But if you don't want to deal with any of those apps, again, you can download something like Google Lens, which will scan QR codes for you and open them. So that's another thing to call out here. So overall, I just again wanted to touch on these things. Overall, I do think this is a great device for what it is, but the software experience makes it a little frustrating. You just have to go through a ton of setup and back and forth, and I hope in the future that they put some updates to kind of mitigate these issues and make this a more pleasant experience to use. So yeah, that's all, and thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe this video, and give it a thumbs up, and yeah, see you in the next one.